Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Pakistan hands over BSF Jawan Purnam Kumar Shaw to India. Shaw was in Pakistani custody since 23rd of April 2025. India declares Pak High Commission staffer persona non grata over his activities outside official role, asked to leave India within 24 hours. Life limping back to normal in border towns of India. Nationwide Tiranga Yatra to mark the success of Operation Sindoor. US President Trump plans to lift long-standing sanctions on Syria. Also agrees to sell Saudi Arabia an arms package worth nearly $142 billion during his visit to the Gulf. Ukraine President Zelenskyy vows to attend talks with Russia this week, only in the presence of Putin. Trump says US Secretary of State Rubio will also be present at the crucial meet. Big news we are tracking here at DD India Live. Border Security Force Jawan Purnam Kumar Shaw was handed over to India today. The constable inadvertently crossed over to Pakistan territory while on operational duty in the area of Firozpur sector on 23rd of April this year at around 11:50 hours IST and was detained by Pak Rangers. He had been in the custody of Pakistan Rangers since then. Today at about 10:30 hours IST, he was handed over to India through the joint checkpost Atari in Amritsar. The handover was conducted peacefully and in accordance with established protocols. The repatriation of BSF constable has become possible due to consistent efforts of the BSF through regular flag meetings with Pakistan Rangers and through other communication channels. Amritpal Singh is joining us to get us more on this. Amrit, help us understand the significance of this development given the current situation between the two countries to begin with.
Preeti, the conflict, because of the heightened conflict, getting the BSF constable back, Constable Shaw, was an uphill task because he spent about 21 days. Generally in such situations, what happens is that if one of your soldiers strays into enemy territory or crosses over inadvertently, which was the case here, and he had crossed over on the 23rd of last month, which was well before these tensions escalated. Though the Pahalgam incident had happened, and a day after that he had crossed over. So in these circumstances, getting him back would have required quite a bit of negotiation between the BSF and the Pakistan Rangers, and also diplomatic pressure which was constantly on Pakistan. Generally in normal circumstances, if either of your soldiers crosses over, the two sector commanders hold a flag meeting and they do a certain amount of investigation whether it was an inimical activity or whether he was there for spying, etc. But in this case, as it was clear that it was an inadvertent crossing over, but because of the circumstances it became difficult, and the Constable Shaw was returned after 21 days. In normal circumstances he would have been returned earlier, but as I said, after he crossed over, Pahalgam had already happened a day before. The situation was tense. Pakistanis would have probed much more, and after they would have found that Constable Shah was not involved in any kind of inimical activities, and it was an inadvertent crossing over. After the tensions de-escalated, he was handed back this morning at the Atari checkpost by the Rangers to the BSF. Preeti?
All right, Amrit, Purnam Kumar Shaw was in custody of Pakistan Rangers since 23rd of April 2025. What more can you tell us about Purnam Kumar Shaw?
Okay, this constable was posted in the Firozpur sector in Punjab. As you know, the BSF mans the India-Pakistan border. So that is our border guarding force. He was posted in the Firozpur sector. He inadvertently crossed over to the other side. Given the terrain, there are villages very close to the border, and this can happen. Though this is not very usual, generally armed forces take precaution that they do not cross over to the enemy side. It's mostly villagers who stray, who have lands beyond the fencing. It's a fenced border, but in this case, he seemed to have lost his way while patrolling, and he crossed over to the Pakistani side. He was immediately arrested by the Pakistan Rangers. Of course, he would have been questioned, but following that, there were flag meetings between sector commanders. There was the BSF was talking to the Pakistani Rangers, but as I said, the tensions escalated. The Pakistanis kept him as a prize catch, and but once the military tensions de-escalated, he was handed back to the BSF this morning.
Yes, Amrit, this is indeed a major diplomatic breakthrough. But then, for the benefit of our viewers, explain to us how difficult was it to get our BSF Jawan back, given the circumstances, between the two countries at present. What is the general protocol that is followed, or how did India get through this breakthrough?
Well, as I said, that under normal circumstances, it's much easier after the sector commanders meeting. Flag meetings. In such kind of cases, once they do their investigation and find nothing unusual, they hand over the Jawans back. These incidents happen because the terrain is such that you can cross over to the other side. Because the fencing is at a little depth. There are lands of farmers beyond the fencing from both sides. So generally, when the farmers go to till their land, BSF Jawans generally accompany them and stay there till they return back before 4 p.m. In this particular case, because it was harvesting season which was going on in Punjab. The wheat was being harvested, the wheat crop was being harvested. So the BSF Jawan would have, inadvertently crossed over. But given the circumstances, as I said, the BSF was in regular touch. Various flag meetings were happening. But because of the armed conflict, because of the military conflict going on, it became even more difficult. And the Pakistanis would have kept him even after clearing him of any inimical activities. The Pakistanis would have, perhaps wanted to use him as a bargaining chip. But once the military tensions de-escalated, then they handed him back to India this morning. But yes, of course, the BSF and the Rangers were talking. There was diplomatic pressure also being exerted, and the High Commissions were in touch. The Indian High Commission in Islamabad was in constant touch with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Pakistan. Our Ministry of External Affairs here was in touch with the Pakistani High Commission. So diplomatic channels were open, and also the two forces were speaking to each other. That's why you saw it take 21 days to get Constable Shaw back.
All right, Amrit, thank you so much for joining in with those details. So that was our correspondent, Amritpal Singh, telling us more on the big news we're tracking here on DD India Live. Border Security Force Jawan Purnam Kumar Shaw was handed over to Indian custody today. Was handed over to India today, and remember, he was in the custody of Pakistan Rangers since 23rd of April 2025. In another big news coming in, India has withheld the X, formerly known as Twitter, account of Chinese state media outlet Global Times. The Indian embassy in Beijing had earlier cautioned state-run tabloid Global Times to verify messages before posting them on social media amid the India-Pakistan conflict. Earlier, India firmly rejected China's latest attempt to rename several locations in Arunachal Pradesh, reiterating that the state remains an integral part of the country. In response to media queries, Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Randeep Jaiswal said that China has persisted with its vain and preposterous attempts to name places in the Indian state of Arunachal Pradesh. Consistent with our principled position, we reject such attempts categorically. Creative naming will not alter the undeniable reality that Arunachal Pradesh was, is and will always remain an integral and inalienable part of India. All right, our correspondent Akshay Dongre is joining us from the newsroom to get us more. Akshay, spell out more details. India has withheld the former Twitter, the X account of Global Times. Get us more details. What was the case? On what grounds has this been done?
Well, this has been done on the grounds that Global Times, while being the spokesperson of the Chinese government, has been peddling fake news, has been building narrative, working on an agenda, and has been spreading propaganda when it comes to India, when it comes to the tensions that India has had with Pakistan, and has been trying to mislead the people into believing false stories and inaccurate news. Earlier, as you have rightly mentioned, that the Indian side had cautioned Global Times to verify information and then only post it to cross-check and examine what kind of information that it is publishing. But despite all of that, Global Times did not pay any heed. They kept on with the propaganda, especially at a crucial time when at a very sensitive time when there were tensions escalating between India and Pakistan. Even then, it has done it in the past, and it showed no remorse for the kind of fake news peddling that it has been doing, and that is the reason why to keep people informed, to avoid them falling for fake news and propaganda that is done with an agenda to mislead people should be stopped. It's not just Global Times. Earlier we have seen several of those accounts have been withheld that have been trying to create confusion or panic among the people, have been feeding wrong information. So these are steps being taken by the government to protect the civilians, protect the citizens, and perhaps that's the reason why such a strong measure has been taken.
All right, Akshay, we also tell our viewers that the Ministry of External Affairs has reiterated again that Arunachal Pradesh remains an integral part of India, given the way China again attempted to rename several locations in Arunachal Pradesh. Spell out more details, and also for the benefit of viewers, explain the context of this development.
Well, this is in line with India's consistent policy as far as our integrity is concerned, and it is laughable that China once again has trying to harp the same old song. And trying to rename build imaginary places in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. India has been warning China of not doing so. It continues to do that, and once again, when attempts have been made from the Chinese side to rename places in Arunachal Pradesh according to China, it has been clarified that you have no stake here. The people are ours. It's a part of our country. It's our territory. The people very much are part of an integral society of the country. And in fact, if you look back among the 5 soldiers who have given their line, given the life in the line of duty, one includes a soldier from Arunachal Pradesh. So that is how deeply the people of Arunachal Pradesh are integrated into the society. They are like any person from Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Jammu and Kashmir or Kerala. They just are as equal citizens of the country. Arunachal is as part of our territory. That has been reiterated time and again. And a clear messaging has been given to China once again that if there is any kind of nefarious agenda that Chinese government goes on by with these kind of tactics, it will not be tolerated and it will be thwarted as soon as possible.
All right, Akshay, we leave it here. Thank you so much for joining in with those details. So that was our correspondent Akshay spelling out more details on Global Times being blocked, the Twitter handle of Global Times being blocked, and also the MEA's response on China's attempt to rename some locations in Arunachal Pradesh. In more breaking news coming in, 3 hardcore Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists were killed in Shopian on Tuesday, of which 2 have been identified, and the identity of the third one is yet to be confirmed. Sources say that the first one was Shahid Kutay, who had joined LAT in 2023. He was also involved in the firing incident at Danish Resort on April 9th in the year 2024, in which 2 German tourists and 1 driver were injured. He was also involved in the killing of BJP Sarpanch at Hirpora, Shopian on May 18, 2024. He is suspected to be involved in the killing of TA personnel at Behibag, Kulgam on February 3, 2025. The second terrorist has been identified as Adnan Shafi, who had joined LET last year. He was involved in the killing of non-local labourer at Wachi, Shopian on October 18, 2024. Security forces recovered a significant cache of weapons and equipment, including AK-47 assault rifles, AK rifle magazines, hand grenades, ammunition pouches, IED components, tactical vests and others. Nandita Dagar is joining us on phone line to get us more. Nandita, 3 terrorists have been killed in Shopian today, and we've given the details of 2 terrorists. What do we know about the whereabouts, or what do we know about the 3rd terrorists?
Yes, Preeti, you're right. The operation in this Shukal Keller area of Shopian forest began yesterday around 10 a.m. and it was over. In fact, it was a search and destroy operation. It was over by 1 p.m. and 3 terrorists were killed. 2 of these terrorists have been identified, means their identity has been ascertained. As you rightly pointed out, one is Shahid Kutte, son of Mohammad Yusuf Kutte, and he had killed, fired on German tourists, although they and one driver last year, and a BJP Sarpanch, as you rightly pointed out. The second one, Adnan Shafi Dar, he had also joined Lashkar-e-Toiba last year, and he was involved in, the of killings of Bihari laborers in the Union Territory of J&K last year in October. So what happened was that, Preeti, in the wake of the Pahalgam terrorist attack, in which 26 innocent tourists were killed at point-blank range by Lashkar-e-Toiba terrorists, funded, trained, abetted and supported by Pakistan in front of their families, India had launched a very tough operation and a hunt for these terrorists, and also responded to this terrorist attack, just as Prime Minister Modi pointed out yesterday from the Adampur Air Force Base, that India had struck at 9 terrorist bases. And apart from countering terrorism across the border and across the LOC, India is also always involved in hunting terrorists in the Jammu and Kashmir Valley, in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, primarily in the Valley of Kashmir. And this operation, let me tell you, Preeti, this operation began in Kulgam actually, and the Rashtriya Rifles Unit, which is the local unit or paramilitary plus military unit which is stationed there, received an intelligence tip-off about the presence of these terrorists in Shopian, and then a hunt was launched. The area was cordoned off. Army, CRPF, all of these were involved in this manhunt. The terrorists, they fired a lot of weapons, and they fired indiscriminately on our security forces, and then they were gunned down, hunted and gunned down, and do not know the identity of the 3rd terrorist. I cannot speculate about his identity and whether he belongs to Pakistan or not. This is all we know. Also, at 12 p.m., there was I suppose you would have received visuals or not. I do not know about that. But the security forces were supposed to hold a briefing at 12 p.m. today to show the weapons recovered from these 3 terrorists. And to give more details into this operation. Preeti?
All right, Nandita, now this comes at a very crucial time when, when we know the circumstances between the 2 countries. How important, is this killing of these 3 terrorists, given the fact that they are affiliated to LET? How do you evaluate? How far will it give more, it will give more teeth to our security forces in Jammu and Kashmir?
Well, Preeti, after India has been fighting terrorism from across the border, terrorism that is state-sponsored by Pakistan since 1989. Now, Pakistan uses it as an instrument of state policy, and that is why India struck at the terrorist launch pads in Pakistan, in Punjab, in Bahawalpur and in Murid-K, which were the headquarters of Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Toiba, proscribed and banned terrorist organizations across the world from US, UK, even the United Nations Security Council. Now, therefore, these operations against terrorists within the Kashmir Valley have been continuing since in the early 90s and late 80s. India has also suffered major casualties, not just to our security forces, but also to our civilian personnel from this proxy war and asymmetrical war that Pakistan itself has stated that it intends to bleed India through 1,000 cuts. And therefore, these operations are significant. But after we had seen a little normalcy coming to J&K in the Union Territory of J&K in the past 3 to 4 years. Ever since the Article 370 was revoked, we had seen the Kashmiri people supporting the Indian government, Indian assimilating more with the country. Also, tourism and economy, or tourism booming in Kashmir, and economy of J&K booming also.
All right.
Since that Pahalgam terrorist attack, Pakistan has again started infiltrating terrorists across the LOC, and this hunt for terrorism continues. And as Prime Minister Narendra Modi had warned, this is the new normal. Preeti?
All right, this is the new normal. Thank you so much, Nandita, for joining in with those details. All right, the government of India has declared a Pakistani official working at the Pakistan High Commission in New Delhi persona non grata for indulging in activities not in keeping with his official status in India. The official has been asked to leave India within 24 hours. Chargé d'Affaires Pakistan High Commission was issued a démarche to this effect on Tuesday. Pakistan's High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Saeed Ahmed Maroof, has unexpectedly taken leave. In fact, he's gone on leave, sparking widespread speculation in diplomatic circles and on social media, according to a prominent Bangladeshi newspaper. Maroof left Dhaka on 11th of May, heading to Islamabad via Dubai. On the same day, the Pakistan High Commission in Dhaka officially notified Bangladesh's Ministry of Foreign Affairs about his departure. Diplomatic sources in Dhaka have indicated that the High Commissioner was urgently recalled due to controversies surrounding a personal trip to Cox's Bazar and his alleged involvement with a Bangladeshi female government official. Pakistan High Commission has confirmed that Deputy High Commissioner Mohammad Asif will serve as the acting High Commissioner. They have not specified the duration of Maroof's leave in their official communication. The High Commission has unofficially indicated that Maroof is expected to be on leave for 2 weeks. Saeed Ahmed Maroof assumed his role as High Commissioner to Bangladesh in December 2023. India's Chief of Defence Staff, General Anil Chauhan, joined by General Upendra Dwivedi, Chief of Army Staff, Admiral Dinesh K. Tripathi, Chief of the Naval Staff, and India's Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal A.P. Singh, shared insights on Operation Sindoor's success. The top brass emphasized on strategic clarity, multi-domain execution, and enhanced jointness. Deliberations with veterans and think tanks highlighted the future of integrated warfare, underscoring India's evolving defense capabilities. Union Minister of Information and Broadcasting, Ashwini Vaishnav, reiterated his government's zero-tolerance policy on terrorism. He penned an article for an English daily where he underlined India's response to the same, stating that the massacre in Pahalgam was not just an attack on innocent lives, it was an assault on the country's principles. In response, India decided to rewrite the rule book on counter-terrorism. Operation Sindoor is Narendra Modi government's clearest articulation of a zero-tolerance, no-compromise policy to safeguard national security, the Modi doctrine. The first key pillar of the doctrine is decisive retaliation on India's terms. In other words, any terrorist attack on India will be met with a fitting response. The country will take strict action to uproot terrorism and ensure that perpetrators and their sponsors face the consequences. The second pillar is zero tolerance for nuclear blackmail. It underlines that India will not succumb to nuclear threats or coercion. The doctrine asserts that any attempt to use nuclear blackmail as a shield for terrorism will be met with precise and decisive action. The third pillar of the doctrine is no distinction between terrorists and their sponsors. India will hold both terrorists and their enablers accountable. The doctrine makes it clear that those who harbor terrorists, finance them or support terror will face the same consequences as the perpetrators. History will remember India's response to Pahalgam as measured and principled. It will remember our response to terror. Bharat stood tall, spoke with one voice and struck with one force. Operation Sindoor is not the end. It is the beginning of a new era of clarity, courage and our sankalp in tackling terror. You're watching DD India Live. We're heading for a short break. Stay with us.